Hey guys, it's Jeremy here at Metal Music Meltdown, back with another video. What here for today, guys, is the next installment of my top 10 albums of each year. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. You could definitely check out my playlist. I started back in 1970. I had my top 5 for each year in the 70s, and when I got into the 80s, I bumped it up to top 10, and I'm working my way through each year in sequence. And this is obviously 1996, as you can see from the thumbnail. So like I said, if you enjoy this type of video, definitely subscribe to the channel. Give the video a thumbs up and check out my playlist for the other videos. So let's jump right in, guys. 96 was a hard year to do. The 90s was kind of a struggle for metal. Not too many bands were thriving. I kind of went back into the underground. But I found 10 albums I enjoy from this year. And let's jump right in. So at number 10, I have the second studio album from Tool, Enema. I like Tool. They're not one of my favorite bands, but when you feel the itch for them, nothing hits the spot quite like Tool. Some standard tracks from this one would be the title track, H, and Stinkfist. Pretty cool album, definitely check it out. At number 9, I have the black metal veterans, Dark Funeral, with their debut album, The Secrets of the Black Arts. I'm not a huge black metal guy. I get into some bands, and Dark Funeral ones that kind of resonated with me. As you can see, my buddy Lennon here is about to jump up on my chair. And yeah, really solid album, great debut. Listen to it quite often still. Great band if you're into black metal. At number 8, I have Cannibal Corpse with Vile. Fucking love Cannibal Corpse, one of my favorite death metal bands. Again, I'm not massive into death metal. My genres I kind of gravitate towards more are thrash and traditional metal, and some prog metal and melodic death metal as well. But I love the old school death metal, the original sound from the Tampa, Florida scene. This is the first album that had George Fisher, Corpse Grinder, on vocals. He's my favorite vocalist from Cannibal Corpse. Wasn't as big on the other vocalists at the beginning, to be honest with you, Barnes. I prefer the Fisher era. But this is a solid album, really good stuff. And at number 7, I have Catatonia with Brave Murder Day. And this is their second full length, released in August of 96. Really good band. They're kind of like a death doom, very like depressive kind of music sounding. They have a really distinct sound. Love the vocals, love the arrangements, always love this band. Everything they put out has always been solid, and they do have a new release coming out this year, so I'm super pumped for that. And at number 6, I have Soundgarden with Down on the Upside. This is when they were still pretty heavy, but more alternative. More to the end of their career. They had one album after this that came out much later. This is their 5th studio album. Standard tracks for me would be Pretty Nooses Was Classic, Burning in My Hand, Blow Up the Outside World. Just some really good stuff on this one. Rhinosaur. Just some really solid stuff on this album. Love Chris Cornell's voice. Rest in peace, brother. And just a classic album. And number 5, I have Motorhead with Overnight Sensation. Pretty much any time a Motorhead album comes up, it's pretty good chance it's going to make my top 10 somewhere. They don't have a weak album in my opinion. Definitely a top 10 all-time band for me. And this album is pretty solid. Not one of their best, but still it's a Motorhead album and it still kicks ass. I love Crazy Like a Fox, the title track, Eat the Gun, Broken. Some really solid stuff on this album still. Definitely check it out. And at number 4, I have the second album from In Flames, The Jester Race. Love In Flames, one of my favorite melodic death metal bands. A lot of people give them a lot of flack after they changed their sound and went more alternative. Me personally, I'm one of the rare few who still enjoy those records. Not quite as much as their old stuff, the heavier stuff, but I still find enjoyment out of their new stuff. It's still heavy, it's melodic, it's catchy. But a lot of people give them a lot of shit, and I'm not sure why. But the new album is sounding really promising. It's kind of a throwback to their older sound. So I'm really pumped to see that one when it comes out. It comes out in February, I believe. So should be a good album. So yeah, Jester's Race at number 4. And number 3 will be a little bit controversial. I have Metallica's Load. I know a lot of people fucking hate this record. Most people after the Black Album don't like pretty much anything Metallica did. But to be honest, when I got into Metallica, it was around this era. More the Black Album and then kind of Load around the same time. and then I went back and discovered their classic 4 albums, which I fucking love. But I really enjoy Load. Reload I'm not a big fan of, and Saint Anger fucking sucks. But some of their later albums are still decent. I enjoy, yeah, I enjoy like a lot of their stuff. Like the newer stuff, if you just take it for what it is, just good hard rock, there's still really good songs. I think there's like really good memorable songs on this album. Bleeding Me, I fucking love that song. The last song, Outlaw Torn, is almost 10 minutes, but it's a great song. Bleeding Me, like I said. Until It Sleeps is a really catchy song, great hard rock song. I really enjoy this album. It's still a great, good stuff. Not nearly as good as their old stuff, but if you take it for what it is, it's solid. And number 2, I have Roots by Sepultura. Another album that gets a lot of flack because they more new metal. But I like their experimental stuff in there. So has a new metal groove, but a very groove metal as well. They incorporated a lot of their traditional instruments in this one from Brazil. And it's got some really bangers on this one, like Roots Blooded Roots is a killer song. Just some really heavy stuff on this album. I still enjoy it. Not as good as Beneath the Remains and Arise, but still really solid. Love it. And I didn't really have any honorable mentions on this album this year. Sorry, guys. Like I said, I was kind of scraping just to put 10 together. When I was kind of looking through the releases from this year, there wasn't a whole lot that stood out to me that was like, wow. So I just kind of put together albums I enjoyed to some degree. But this one stood out to me for number 1, The Mighty Opeth with Morning Rise. It's their second full length. This is back when they're more straight death metal. I fucking love Opeth, my favorite metal band. This is a killer album, super heavy, brutal. And Michael had some of the best growls in death metal history, in my opinion. Just a really, really solid album. So guys, let me know down below what your picks would be from 1996. And stay tuned for 1997, hopefully in the next week or two. I'm going to try to stay on track with this one a little bit better this time and get caught up until present date. And until next time, guys, keep it metal.